Welcome to Chaldean language class. I am Father Andrew Yonan, core bishop, I guess now, Andrew Yonan. I will be continuing from the alphabet. So if you don't know the alphabet, I'm going to do a speed run through the Aleph Beth today. If you are watching this online, this is a continuation of the Chaldean language, Introductory Chaldean courses that are online that Father Daniel Shaba did. These videos will be posted on the same YouTube page. You can find that YouTube page. I have a blog, yonan.blog. If you go there and scroll down a little bit, there's a link that's called Chaldean Language Resources. That has a list of where you can find this book and all the other books that we do, all the sets of videos that we have. You can find all of them there. If you don't know the alphabet, raise your hand. Okay, good. This is totally fine. No problem. I am going to give you all advice today on how to learn it. Step one is don't be intimidated. You already know at least one alphabet. It's the same thing. There's a thing and it sounds like something, and then you put it next to another thing and that sounds like something. And then you just keep doing that. That's how alphabets work. Don't scare yourself. People scare themselves. It's like there's something called math anxiety, I think. The reason why you get math anxiety when you're trying to learn math is not because math is hard, it's because you have trauma from your dad yelling at you when you were trying to learn math when you were a kid, okay? The alphabet is not hard to learn. It is not hard to learn. It is a shape that makes a sound. Simple as that. And there are fewer letters in Chaldean than there are in English. So you don't be intimidated. Now, another thing that people do that kind of cripples them from the beginning is they worry about little tiny details and they get so focused on the details, like exactly how am I supposed to write the letter or shape it. I don't care. Right now, don't worry about how tall is it supposed to be, and the letter lemeth is supposed to be this tall compared to the letter nun. You don't need to know that in order to read. And what I need from you now is to start to be able to read. Once you're able to read and you're comfortable with it and you're starting to learn the language and then you feel like doing calligraphy, you have all the time in the world to go back and learn exactly how to write each letter. Today I'm going to speed run through these letters. I'm going to point and say this makes this sound and then move on. In the next 2 weeks, whoever doesn't know how to read the alphabet, your homework is to learn how to read the alphabet. The way you do that is the first 9 chapters of this book. You can get it on Amazon. It'll get to your house in a couple days. You can start right away. Or you can buy one of these from us before you leave. And you go to this website and you go to Father Danny's videos. 2 weeks to learn 22 letters. That's like a letter. It's like 2 letters a day. You're not that busy. You can learn 2 letters a day. And then a couple of vowels. Don't worry about the vowels right now. Okay? So that's your homework for the next. Now, why 2 weeks? Because next week I will be out of town. That worked out great because it'll give you guys who don't know the alphabet some extra time. Once I get back on January, 21st? Is that the date? 2 weeks from now? Yeah. Once I get back on January 21st, and we have class again, we are going to start with chapter 10 of this book. So chapters 1 through 9 are the alphabet. Chapter 10 is Shlama Elohu, stuff like that, how to have conversations in Chaldean. If I have enough interest and there's enough of you that survive to the end of this book, we might even get into the blue book, which is the grammar, which there's already videos of that, but it'll be fun to do it in person as well. Questions so far on what's expected of you? So, good question. So the dialect of Chaldean that I'm going to be teaching is a combined dialect of as much as we could of all of the villages of the Nineveh Plains. So everything from Alqush down to Tilkepe, everything in between. And we say, oh, everything be like they're so far apart, they're like 10 miles away from each other. But like all of that, so I'm not really going to stress one. My dad is Alqushnaya, my mom is Tilkepnetha. I grew up with my mom's side of the family. My accent is fairly generic. So it's not going to be hayth that is going to punch you in the stomach, and it's not going to be some vowels that sound like 7 different vowels combined together. Okay, so mine is fairly generic. My advice when it comes to the accents or the village sort of way of speaking is you learn what you need to learn and be happy with it and be proud of it. There's no right or wrong with these things. And don't let anybody tell you one way to say something is better than another. The only thing that's wrong is to use Arabic. Okay? Now, I'm not saying the Arabic language is bad. It might be. I don't know. I don't know it to know whether it is or not. But the thing that's bad is to take a perfectly good word that's in Chaldean and to replace it with an Arabic word. If there isn't a word, we can replace it with English or some other word or whatever. I'm okay with that. But if there's a perfectly good way to say something in one village and there's a different way to say it in another village, it does nothing to say, well, this one's better and here's why. Why? Who cares? Why do that to anybody? And what I want you guys to do is to be able to speak to your grandmas. That's my goal. Or your aunts or uncles or whoever. Or to preach or to whatever. Something like that. That's what I want, so you can converse with your own people. Okay? Let me go through a couple of notes before I do my speed run. Learning a language. I have bad news for you. Learning a language is work. I will try to be as entertaining and fun as possible. As you can tell, I'm a very pleasant person. People enjoy being around me. No, they don't. I don't enjoy being around them either, but I don't mind teaching. It can be fun. I will try to make this as easy and pleasant as possible, but it's going to be work. You're not going to learn this by just like zoning out and then tomorrow you're going to suddenly know the alphabet. You actually have to work to memorize things. Now, how do you do it? Again, focus on the stuff that is actually important for a passive reading knowledge. I want you to be able to recognize the letters so that you and know what they sound like. It does help when you're trying to learn what the letters sound like. It's not going to hurt at all to draw them. It's going to help you learn what they sound like. And you're going to make this shape and you're going to say this is a B sound. That's going to help you. But what I want you right now, I don't need you to like compose poetry. And I don't need you to write these letters at all as far as like what we're going to do in this class. I need you to have recognition. That's a first step. In a couple of months or in a couple of years, you'll be able to start writing for yourself. That's great. But don't worry about that now. Next, make mistakes. Please. The reason why 20 to 50% of you are not going to be here next time I teach in this room, the reason why you're not going to be here is because of your pride. Is because tomorrow you're going to sit here and you're going to say, well, I'm going to learn these letters today. And you're going to try and you're going to mess up and then you're going to give up. And that is pride. Because what you want, what we want in our pride is, I want to be perfect at something right away. And that has never happened for anybody except for maybe Mozart with music and a couple of other people. And you're not Mozart, I don't care who you are. Okay? So, when we're sitting here and we're reading, and I'm probably not going to call on people to have them read, but who knows? I might get bored and just tell them. And you're going to read and you're going to get to this letter and you're going to pronounce it like it's an R. Because it looks very similar to the letter that is an R. And you're going to say something, you're going to say, make an R sound when you get to this, and you're going to get so embarrassed and you're going to want to go home and cry into your pillow and never leave your room again. Some of you are little kids, that's okay, and I welcome every age here, but most of you are not in high school anymore, don't act like it, okay? You messed up, we'll have a little laugh at yourself, move on. And I'll be the first one to laugh at you, okay? Because it's all fun. You're going to laugh at me too. Okay. So make mistakes. Be humble enough to just laugh at yourself and move on and try again. And you're going to say one of these days, you're going to be in the middle and you're going to get to like one of these letters like this one, and you're going to keep forgetting, and it's always going to be the same letter that you keep forgetting, or it's going to be the same word that you keep, like, what does that word mean? I have to look it up every time. I've been translating for 20 years and I still have to look up some of the words that I was looking up 20 years ago. There's some words that are just special. My brain just doesn't absorb them. That's okay. It's part of being human. So breathe, relax, go easy on yourself, but also work hard. Work hard, but don't stress yourself out. If you can't do that, today's the day to learn it. Okay? My strong suggestion is to do a little bit every day. So 10, 15 minutes every day, just learning a couple letters, is a lot better for the way your brain learns than, oh my gosh, it's January 20th and tomorrow's Chaldean class and I haven't done anything. Let me sit for 8 hours and try to learn the whole alphabet. That's a longer amount of time. 15 minutes, let's see, 15 minutes times, how many days would that be? Times 14 days. How many hours is that? 2.5 hours? That 2.5 hours, if you do 15 minutes a day, whatever amount of time that is, that's better than studying for 8 hours in one day. Your brain is not going to learn in 8 hours in one day. It will learn 10, 15 minutes every day. And I think it's been studied that doing this right before you sleep can actually help you learn it. When you learn stuff when you're reading stuff right before you sleep, or you're studying right before you sleep, your brain, you sort of dream it, and it kind of you retain it better. So I found that true in my case with a lot of the languages that I've learned. So that's my advice on learning a language. Let me see if there's anything else I have to worry about. So 2 weeks from now, we're going to start right away with conversational stuff, chapter 10. Father Danny's videos, here's the URL. Get a copy of this book. I guess I can sell you these, but I would rather not lose all. Well, whatever. If you really want one of these, give money to somebody around here. I don't know who. Who wants to collect the money? Not this guy, no. He's like, I want some money. I'll find somebody. We'll have somebody by the door if you really want to buy one of these. And I have no idea how much they cost. So, okay. So, ready for a speed run through the alphabet? Everyone take a deep breath. From now on, please don't eat onions or garlic before coming to class. Or bastorma, especially bastorma. Okay. Everyone say alap. You see how it looks like a 2? Kind of looks like a 2. This is the first letter. It's kind of the letter A. But kind of not, but I don't want to explain that to you now because it's going to scare you and then you'll never see me again. I'll never see you again. Okay. So this is the letter alap. I'm not going to show you how to write it. If you want to learn how to write it, any of these letters, there's a nice thing on page VI, Roman numeral 6, that shows you step by step how to do each of the letters. Now, is anybody surprised that I started over here? Chaldean, all dialects of Aramaic, Chaldean is a dialect of Aramaic, by the way, all dialects of Aramaic and all Semitic languages are written from right to left. So that'll take a little getting used to, but within a couple weeks you'll get used to it. Everyone say alap. Okay, something like the letter A. I'll explain why it's slightly different than the letter A someday in the coming weeks, but more or less the letter A. Everyone say beth. Looks like this. I don't know, maybe like a box. Will that help you remember? Box. Betha. So that's kind of the letter B. Looks like this. Okay. Everyone say gamal. That's kind of the letter G. Wouldn't it have been so great if it was the same order as English? A, B, C, D. Sorry guys, it's A, B, G, D, H, O, Z. Is that going to help? No, it's not going to help at all. There are all kinds of mnemonics and ways to learn this, and there's like a Juliana Jindu video, and you can just watch that, listen to that every day on your way to work. That'll honestly help you. Is that her? It was her, right? Yeah. It's catchy. It's catchy. It'll give you the letters. Okay, cool. Anyway, gamal. Everyone say gamal. This is probably related to the word for camel, which is gumla. Okay, so it's probably like a drawing of that eventually. So that's the letter G. So everyone say alap, beth, gamal. See, you know already. Everyone say dalath. Oh, another thing I don't want you to worry about right now is which letters connect to the next one and which ones don't. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but you're not going to, the book does it automatically for you. And the typewriter, like when you type out these letters, the font does it automatically. You don't really have to worry about that right now. Just recognize the letters. So that's dela. I'm going to say delath. So it's like this, but it has like a line underneath it. And I just erased the line like an idiot. Okay. Delath is the letter D. Everyone say he. Looks like that. I don't know how to describe that. It looks like it looks like this one that fell down. I don't know if that's not going to help anybody at all. Why are we doing this? Okay. Everyone say wow. Wow is the letter O. And it looks like an O. If only it could be that easy. Isn't that great? This is my favorite letter to teach. Everyone say Zain. Zain sometimes is filled in. So it'll look like this sometimes. Zain is the letter Z. Okay? Everyone say Heth. Heth is a H that is guttural. So if you know what a guttural is, everyone touch your throat. Not too hard. I don't want to have to call the ambulance. Okay? Heth is an H that you pronounce back in your throat. Everyone say heth. Can all of you make that sound? Yeah, you can. Okay. There's nobody. Well, I think there might be some people that can't make that noise, but I'm not going to point you out or what ethnicity you might be. Okay. Or might not be. Anyway, try your best. There are villages, Chaldean villages, and most Assyrian villages will actually pronounce this ch. So that's valid too. Most Chaldeans will pronounce this h. They're both fine. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. Okay. So that's a h. Okay. Everyone say tayth. Tayth is a letter T, but it's also said in your throat. So these are both gutturals. Guttural, just think of gut. You say them with your gut. Okay. T. Everyone say t. Okay. So when there's a little dot underneath the blue letter, the English letter, that indicates that it's a guttural. Now it indicates like you're going to say it down here in your throat. Okay? So that's tayth. Looks like a little half a bow tie. I don't know. Upside down 4? Yeah, that works. Yod. Yod is just a little, it's like a straight line with a little like point. Okay? That's the letter Y. Okay? So far so good? We're like almost halfway there. See, this is easy. Why are people so scared of this stuff? Everyone say kap. Kap is the letter K. It looks sort of like beth, except it's got a round top right here. Good? Beth is a corner, kap is round. But it's, okay? Now here's the fun part. This is the part where people that like lose their mind and it's just the end of the world because this letter looks different when it's at the end of a word. When it's at the end of the word, you know, like, let's say I'm going to write my name, and let's say I'm going to use my nickname, which is Andy, right? Father Andy. And I'm going to say, okay, you know how you can like do this if you're like flamboyant? You know what I mean? That's kind of what's going on with these. Hebrew does this, you know, whatever. So I'm going to erase this, it looks weird. So don't freak out about these. If there's a complicated tail at the end, it's a kap. Simple as that. If there's some kind of weird squiggly line at the end, it just means it ends with a K sound. Everyone say lemeth. Lemeth is the letter L, and it looks like a backwards L. See? Lemeth and wow are your best friends right now. Okay? Everyone say meme. Meme also has a final form, which I think is very pretty. It's one of my favorite letters to write. So meme at the end of a word looks like this, in the middle it looks like this. The letter M. So look. H-I-J-K-L-M-N. See? So there's some sort of similarity with the English alphabet. Everyone say noon. It looks like you're writing none, but none is that person there. Noon is this. Okay? Noon also has a final form. This is the last one that has a final form. It's just a simple straight line. It's like at the end of the word, it just kind of goes down. So if it's a simple line at the end of a word, it's a noon. If it's kind of complicated, it's a kap. That's as simple as I can make it. Again, someday I hope you learn how to write these really well. I don't want you to stress about that right now. Noon looks like that. Sounds like an. Everyone say simkath. Looks like that. Maybe a bee. Like a little bee that's flying around but without wings. I don't know. My imagination's weird. Ruined by decades of video games. It's the letter S. Simkath. Everyone say eh. Eh is actually supposed to look like an eyeball. Look at that. You see that? You guys looking that way? I don't know. Anyway, so that's a eh. Erase that. And the eh is a pure guttural sound. So this is actually an apostrophe. That's one way to transliterate this. So everyone say It's like you, what does it sound like? It's like you had to eat broccoli. You know how broccoli's horrible and nobody should eat it? And you're like, ugh. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like broccoli. Okay? So that's Everyone say pe. Pe is kind of a backwards P, but it's got like a little line under it. Good? And then everyone say sade, which is an S, but that's guttural. So an S you say down here. Sade. Everyone say qop. It's the letter Q. Everyone say resh. The letter R. So resh and deleth. The deleth has the line on the bottom. Deleth has shoes. I don't know how that helps. And the resh has a hat. Resh has a resha. Okay? R. Everyone say sheen. Is like a sh sound. In English we use 2 letters. Chaldean is just 1. Sheen. Everyone say tau. The letter T. That's it. That's the whole alphabet. However, the bad news is you actually can't make any sounds with this. Because if you notice, you maybe have never paid attention to this, your mouth cannot make any sound without a vowel. The way people hear you is not with your consonants, it's with your vowels. That's how air leaves your lungs. And none of these are vowels, even though you look, that's why I said this is not really an A. Okay? And this is actually not really an O, this is actually more of a W. You know what? I'm going to change this to a W. Oh no, I wrote it down and my perfect notes are going to be ruined now. Who just thought that? Who's OCD like I am? I want to know. A couple of you. Yeah, I know you're here. I know there's people here. Okay. So, the way you make these, the way you aspirate these, the way, no, sorry, that's the wrong word. The way you make these make a sound, you add some breath to them, is with these 7 vowels right here. The vowels in Chaldean are dots, or, yeah, they're basically dots that go above or below the letter. Okay? So, if you want to, I just used the letter beth for all of these, but you can put the vowels on any letter. If you want to take the letter beth and you want to say ba, you do not say beth elab. You take a beth and you put 2 dots vertically above it. So everyone say ba. Ba. Good? Again, when you go to Father Danny's lessons, it'll be very clear, but that's how you do it, ba. If you take 2 little dots and put them horizontally underneath the beth, it sounds like this, b. B. Nice and short b. If you take 1 dot above and 1 dot below, it sounds like this, ba. Short vowel, ba. If you take 2 dots and you put them sort of diagonally underneath the beth, it sounds like this, be. Okay, so I'm going to say ba, be, ba, be. See, it's pretty easy. And you can do that with any letter. So if you take a gamal and you put these 2 dots above it, it'll sound like ga. See? Now, the last 3 vowels, take the letter waw, or the letter yod. So if you take a waw and put 1 dot above it, it sounds like this, bo. And if you put a dot under it, it sounds like this, boo. And then if you take a yod and you put a dot under it, it sounds like this, b. Okay, that's the vowels. Another thing I don't want you to care about right now is the name of these vowels. They all have a name. I don't care what they're named. I want you to know how to make the sound. Learn the names later. Okay, that's the vowels. Now, I'm about to ruin your day for the next minute before I start my next class. If you mess with some of these letters, they sound a little different. So if you take a beth and put 1 dot underneath it, it no longer sounds like a B, it sounds like a W. Yep. Told you I'd ruin your day. That's what I'm here for. If you take a gamal and you put a dot under it, it no longer sounds like a G, it sounds like R. Everyone say R. Good. If you take a deleth and you put a dot next to the little line underneath, it sounds like the. Everyone say the. If you take a cup and put a dot underneath, it sounds like ch. Everyone say ch. That's what you do when you try to get the broccoli out of your mouth, right? If you take a tau and you put a dot under it, it sounds like th. So if you notice in English, it has a similar effect of putting the letter H next to some of these letters. R, the, ch, th. Good? If you put a little squiggly half circle underneath the letter B, you get the letter V. Everyone say V. If you put it under gamal, you get the letter J. If you put it under kap, you get ch. If you put it under pe, you get f. In the old language, you get wa. Yeah. Then finally, the last thing is, if you see two heavy dots above a letter in a word, they sound like nothing. They're a grammatical sign that means that that noun is plural. So these are not pronounced. They're called siame. Don't really worry much about this, but you'll see them once. If you see it, don't lose your mind. All right, does everyone know the alphabet now? Perfectly. You're never going to have to study it again. Your work is done. You have -2 minutes for questions or comments. Can anybody move backwards in time? Yeah, they're online on YouTube. So Father Danny has a whole set of videos on YouTube explaining the alphabet. Yeah, if you just look up Chaldean Learning or something like that on YouTube, or follow this URL. Good?